go. There you go. I guess you got to do that. All right. And I'm live. My man Ricardo. Still trying to figure out this software situation using Riverside to live stream directly to Instagram and YouTube at the same time. But now I'm trying to figure out the live chat because I'm tired of bouncing between the two. But, you know, we're just going to get going. People are jumping in. Well, first off, I just have to say thank you to everyone who's supporting me. Buying a copy is obvious, but just getting the word out is also just as important. So you might not be the biggest sword and sorcery fan, but you might know somebody. And if you know somebody, then let them know. Send a link to my Instagram or YouTube, or go directly to the CROMthebarbarian.com website. But we're halfway through. I'm pretty darn excited. My sales campaign is, can CROM sell 100 copies without Kickstarter? I believe it's true. Right now, we're at 42. I need 8 more to make it a nice even 50. So you can go to CROM the Barbarian.com to vote yes and get a copy. But like I said, if you're not the biggest sword and sorcery fan or comic book collector, it's okay. Just help spread the word. That's really what I'm using social media for. So I'm looking for those true fans. So I just am absolutely ecstatic about the fact that I have 42 copies sold without a Kickstarter. I feel like even if I repeat that for the next half of the month and I end up at 84 sales altogether, that's pretty incredible. Because what I've found with Kickstarters, indie comics, especially like black and white indie comics, they never really sell more than 100 copies, at least for the people starting out. And I'm starting out. I've been at this for a long time, but this is way more of an official starting out point than I have in the past. So really embracing everything. But my biggest word to artists, comic books, and the like is preach from your website. That's the really most important message that I can send out there. Sure, Instagram is a great place. Facebook is a great place, even YouTube. But get people to come to your website, give away stuff like downloads. I did a giveaway download for the PDF version of the 2018. And I believe probably out of that, I reached out to those buyers, and a couple of them obviously picked up on the 2024 revised edition. So, but today I'm going to talk about my original art for the stories I have in the youthful CROM. So this is a 140-page black and white magazine size comic book with a prose story illustrated by me, totally inspired by the likes of Savage Sword of Conan. So I cannot let it go. It's a very important thing to me, and even artistically, especially like an issue like this. This is John Buscema and Alfredo Acala, which was pretty much the height of how well you could draw a comic book, especially in black and white, especially when it came to Conan the Barbarian. So I'm just following in these guys' footpath and moving through. I do a little something different as I did in my last live video. I showed off my cover, which gives a really good idea about how I go about making a black and white image. Although you can see color, if you will, blues and the grays, especially from like the color pencil. I use gouache, so all sorts of fun stuff. But pages wise, I'm dealing with my ballpoint pen originals. So back in 2016, I put together Crom the Barbarian, my 4 stories, claiming Skullbiter being the first one. I was really into ballpoint pen and life drawing. So I was attending an art school locally called Delaware College of Art and Design, DCAD, which, by the way, is no more, which is a sign of the times. Yeah, I just kept with that. So as much as maybe these feel like an improvement, I think a lot of people might even be more attracted to something that's over-rendered. I think that's kind of the things. These were a beautiful place for me to start. So, and I totally believe in returning to your work, looking at it through a new lens. I have been working with a really good friend of mine from the 90s that I used to do comic books with, Jake Jacobs. We're working on Turbo Pit Fighter. And for those pages, I have been giving this heavy gray value rendering. So it's basically black and white lines first, some black shapes, but then I do some liquid masking and then get into a gray wash with graphite, water-soluble graphite. So that kind of gives me another even place. Got black lines, white highlights from the pages, and then the gray values. And then I just start working with all sorts of mark-making instruments in order to have this very well-rendered comic book. And like I said, it goes back to, the days of not only Savage Sword of Conan, but also heavy metal. So, just really, really following my my passion and my bliss. But so with that being said, in these pages, as much and as far as I was pushing them, I still felt like I could keep pushing them, but I didn't want to do it to these pages. I didn't want to kind of keep experimenting and get way too off track and upset my my partner in crime, Jake Jacobs. So I just started printing these original 11 by 17 pages out on 13 by 19 pages cardstock, and started repeating what I was doing in the Turbo Pit Fighter pages as I have them, and started going. So yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to throw them up in the comments. Anything like, I have some of my instruments near me. I can shout them out, if you will. But I spend a lot of time in stationery stores or in the stationery section of Target, anywhere, Five Below, just looking for mark making that's going to help me kind of bring things in a unique way. So, but with that being said, I'm just going to start flipping through these pages, let people check these things out. I once again want to thank you for coming by, seeing what I'm up to. I'm just checking my live stream status through Instagram, YouTube, and then I use Riverside. I also use Riverside for recording podcasts that I do with Jake Jacobs for Turbo Pit Fighter, and I also do a CROM update podcast that on my YouTube channel, which is right now called Kurt Variant Inker, but you can see the videos all on cromthebarbarian.com, the blog updates. So I inset the videos inside the blog, but use the blog to kind of send the signal out through search engine optimization, SEO through Google. So yes, even one of my favorite things I use lately, I have three. I have a black, a white, and a gray spray can. I used to do a lot of airbrushing through high school. And even when I got out of college, I didn't do much in college other than towards the end. But just to knock this down, you could still see the black and white, like the rendering going on there, especially with the ink lines, just hitting it a little bit. Just kind of pushes that back. And I like gruffy pages. Gruffier, the better. Put this back. So white gouache, gray gouache, black ink. Jake introduced me to these high C ink pens, much like a rapidograph, which was similar to the frustration level you would experience doing airbrushing with the clogging and the cleaning and the prepping. And here, these are all disposable. They work really well. Unless when you get down to this 0.25, you do have to have a lighter hand. And I have a very, very heavy hand. So I had to go from there. But the stories that I have in CROM Collected is the first of 3 parts, which is the youthful CROM. So this is before he starts becoming a barbarian. He lives in the jungle with his sister in ruins and comes across all kinds of things that basically start pushing him out into the world. Then I have in the middle CROM, I think I just passed it, CROM, the Adventurous CROM. So the Adventurous CROM are the original Gardner Francis Fox, John Drunta, 1950s. Is a public domain character. By the way, I am not claiming ownership of Crom the Barbarian. As a matter of fact, a shout out to Just Jamie Comics and the crew at Toilet Comics. Instagram, check them out. I think in a couple of days, there's going to be a CROM anthology by about 5 individual artists. One of them, Alex Turbin, who has a great YouTube channel. Actually, one of my top 5 favorite YouTube channels when it comes to comic book reviews and keeping up to date on people working. So yes, I'm just taking this material and putting my layer, but it is also very important that I keep Gardner Fox's voice alive. So the 3rd section is called Transforming CROM. And as it goes with Transforming CROM, there's CROM and the Warlock of Shardor. The Warlock of Shardor in 1953 was a Planet Stories pulp story, which had a very funky science fantasy story. So the science probably leaned more to the fantastic, like sorcery. And so I tweaked it out. I did add a little bit of my own, did not remove, but the dominance of the story is Gardner F. Fox. So to keep his voice alive, by the way, I am the custodian of the Gardner Francis Fox Library.com, which has all of his 156 pages, his paperback novels, digitally transcribed and available for download and reading. So as you can probably get at this point, I'm a busy fellow. But so here's a whole 35 pages of story with inset illustrations by me. And the really exciting part of this story is at the end of the story, basically like the last 4 pages, there's an element that comes together that helps me at least push Crom the Barbarian from a lackadaisical youth barbarian stooge in a lot of ways to getting him to become the dark god that Conan the Cimmerian, Conan the Barbarian prays to. So that's my my journey with this. So and then of course I can't not thank 5 other artists who did their own versions of Crom the Barbarian, and these images were used as variant covers that are only available for the month of August. And I'll talk about these more a little bit down the way because I want to share my pages with you. So back to the pages. You get some white color pencil just to kind of bring in an angle, some light. The only thing I'm really doing in the computer, this is a good example, is the type that goes in here is black type inverted into white, and then it's placed right on top of that. Adam Lemna, brother. So I don't have a copy of his comic, but Relic Hunter. Thank you, Adam. Relic Hunter. You've got to get a copy of Relic Hunter. Everybody. Yes. Sword and Sorcery Brother right here, everybody. Sword and Sorcery Brother. And check this out. We interrupt our regularly scheduled program to bring you this absolutely necessary Sword and Sorcery news. Adam Lemna, we're talking, is from the source and works from the source. Also working on an issue 2, which I can't wait, and we'll also get him on Indie Creator Exchange. Thank you, brother. Thank you so very much for the support. So, my thing is Sword and Sorcery. I love it. Love it. Love it. It's just so much fun. It just takes you into an escaping place. I feel like I can just detach from, especially stressful days. I don't know how you guys deal with stressful days, but curling up with Savage Sword of Conan and his barbarian dogs, maidens, and sorcerers. That's my getaway. So it's taken me that far. But yeah. Thank you, Adam. So good to see you. Like I said, I'm going to reach out and we'll set up some time to help promote your work as well as the new Relic Hunter. So, but yeah, if you guys have any questions about anything, even afterwards, if you're watching this beyond this live stream, which will be hosted on my Instagram, YouTube accounts, please shout out. I love sharing the knowledge I've come to, and I love hearing other people. So, but this is like one of the things I really like doing is just like a lot of things in comics. There seems to be a lack of attention to background. I face that too. So it's no judgment off of me as much as it is a judgment on me. And so this was an area where I started thinking about clouds. So I kind of scribbled your little, as a little kid you would do. And then I took white gouache and just sort of like patted it in there to create fluffy clouds. And I'm happy with that. So thought that was really, really cool. Another thing too, these are just gray, cool gray mountains, just color pencils, just whipped them right in there just to get that going and have that be. So, so of course, Crom now has Skullbiter, which is one of his swords. So he has Skullbiter. I'm actually working on a second story that will be in Crom Anthology. We'll talk about this later. And he's going to have another sword that he has, which is going to be a key element. If you can catch my drift there. But so for the end of the story, staying true to Gardner Fox and the old golden age way of things. This is a 7-page story too, by the way. It kind of wraps up real quickly. Of course, here he is with Skullbiter. The ruins that he lives in, with his people now marching on these adjacent people, Simris, which are monkey men, and they battle them by burning, the grass to kind of, fort them away. So then, of course, there's nothing more exciting in a sword and sorcery story than Amazons. So, once again, Crom in these pages, the youthful Crom, he's like 16-ish in my mind. He's that point of getting to 18. We're also talking about ancient times. So I'm not applying our time frames, but at 16, you got to have your shit together or you're going to get killed. His sister Lala is a huge support mechanism for him. Honestly, she's a lot more smarter than he is. So, brawn and brains type of thing. But this queen from this secret place in the forest, deep in the forest, is ready to mate with a strong male, and sends out her Amazon warriors to get herself one. And she has her eye on this young Crom the Barbarian cougar. So good stuff. I think I know it is. I enjoy myself in making this. So, and we got an upside down page. Thank God that didn't happen in the real thing. So here's another really cool thing I started doing. So this page was pretty much inked out. All right. And then what I did was I reprinted it at size, and then I cut out all of this. All that you see here is white, then hit it with a white spray can. And it created a fuzzy edge to make it feel like the sun was setting and then coming through. I really wanted to break. I wanted to have a real deep break from this panel, from the heavy-handed hatching that was going on. So it kind of gave you a breath. And of course, he's been captured and he's being taken away and everything. So really like that. And so I ended up doing it, I think 2 or 3 more times. So we'll come through. Oh yeah. It's already happened on the second page. So the Queen, I masked out, cut out her. I think I hit it with gray first. Then I came back and just hit it with white. And I just love this. I just, there's something about it. There's something about, and this is something, I'm heavily playing with in comics. Well, here, I can do it right out of the gate here. Here we go. There's a great example. So I blew up, and I did this on purpose for me, by the way. This is like 3 times the size of, well, here's the original. So there's the original panel in the page. I own the original comic, Crom the Barbarian, and the follow-up story, which is the spider god of Akka. So I own those. They were in pulp magazines. So anyways, I blew this up to be able to see this misregistering. I love this misregistering. Now, I really don't want to use any, I've been suggested by others, like Photoshop tools to be able to, not really there, although I do have some plans on incorporating this dot matrix thing that I got from watching Ken Landgraf, who, by the way, is one of the covers, and a very popular cover, by the way, and he's a big favorite of mine, and you can kind of see he prints out these dot screens, Zipatone, places them in there, and then works them into his composition. Love it, love it. I was explaining it to my wife, and she says, "Oh, it sounds like collage." And I said, "Absolutely." So, I like the misregistration feel. I don't need things to be so tight. And I feel like in digital comic books, that's what we're losing, is things are just too tight. So I'm of the school where there needs to be some looseness and quite a lot of it. Just checking the live stream. We're at this for 30 minutes. All right. Cool. So, yeah, like I said, if you have any questions, please. Some of the other, let me see if I can throw out, finish this up. Oh, another thing I've been incorporating in, wasn't really that hip to it, but I ended up, let me just show you. Oh, yeah, well, it's kind of hard because it's in the, so there's no sound effects. So we got a bim and a bop. It's a little humorous, but I love, because a comic book is primarily made from the theory of incorporating words and pictures. Words can be, and obviously are, caption boxes, dialogue boxes. The sound effects are just as integrated. So that's something I'm very privy to now. So, and we're getting to, once again, oops, sorry about that. We're getting to the end. This is the end of CROM submitting to the Amazons. A similar kind of ending, I have to admit. And it's, they basically, throw them off their course and everything. So they're still around. She's gonna get you, CROM, no matter what. And obviously, his sister Lala played a big hand in his escape. So with that, it's been pretty cool. But the let me see. This is my #1 son when it comes to ink tools. This is a Tombow Fudenosuke ink pen. It's a flexible tip brush pen. This is the hard tip. There's a greenish kind of, I don't think I have any around, because the soft tips I don't really care too much for, but I will use at times, but it's too stubby. So I have incorporated my second son for inking, which is this Shunibitsu. Say that a couple of times. This is a pilot, but it has a big, thick head that I can do a lot of good covering with, but still keep it brushy. Then like a medium soft tip, but the tip itself is longer, so I can really create variation in, you know, just moving around and everything. So those are the top two, and then it always follows up when I want to do some like noodling. You can kind of see it over here. These are just, and noodling, I mean just like, you know, putting in lines and dots and details. So those are the three pens that are always clutched in my left hand, moving through and such. Love, these were pens that Jake also introduced me to. I can't find the black one right now. How's that? Where are you? This is the white one. Oh, wait a second. Yep. I see it. I see it. So these are extra fine tip paint markers from Artistro. These are great, and I find I've gone through many of the white ones. I still like the Poscas, though I seem to get a lot more out of these guys, the Artistros, for that. But really great combination to start dealing with black and white. And I've even been able to incorporate a gray. That's not it. Man, I thought I had everything right here. No, I'll just bring out this one. I haven't broken this one. Posca does a it's a 0.7 millimeter. So this is the gray one. So right now I can just start dealing with black, white, and gray just in line work. And as I said, we'll then do a graphite wash. So, and then there's colored pencils, black, white, gray colored pencils, but there's so many other things. Like here, I'll show you. This is an amazing thing. Having water in a brush, highly portable. Love these. Oh yeah, this was fun too. Tombow also does these bigger, larger brush pens. This is a gray one. Really nice. Really nice. Like this. Going to be incorporating this a lot in the next pages for the CROM anthology. So I'm going to leave the originals. I'm going to return for another live event towards the end of the month. Once again, 16 days down, and CROM is halfway there. Can he sell 8 copies by the end of the day today? It's the 16th of August, 2024, to make it 50. If you do help, thank you so very much. If you have to wait till the end of the month for the paycheck, totally understandable, but I just wanted to get on. So voting yes to CROM being able to sell 100 copies by the end of the month without Kickstarter. So just my little sales campaign, a lot of positive feedback so far and support once again. So the goal too in making 100 copies being sold is that the profits are going to help get copies of my guest artists their own copies. So as I said before, these are only going to be offered for the month of August. Once it's all said and done, I will then print off based on the success. 100 copies really helps these guys get a couple more than what they really do deserve. No, that didn't sound right. As much as they deserve. So, it's all about helping these guys support me and the CROM anthology, which I'm going to close out talking about. Adam Dodds, Jason Schoonover, Adam Dodds, David Molina, Drawn Sword, and Ken Landgraf. So just very important to the steps I'm making in getting CROM Anthology off the ground, because 100 issues, believe it or not, and the profits that come from that will help get CROM Anthology going forward. Mainly because there's stuff that I want to try to license, even try to get that artist to work with the CROM character. But this is a 450-page scrapbook I put together. This is not for sale. This is just to help remind me of just all of the wonderful things, sword and sorcery comics that have been out there in the past, basically up to about, I think, 1984, that have just kept me happy and healthy through tough times. So I would like to bring about. Gardner Fox did a lot of sword and sorcery adjacent work. This is a really good thing that I would like to approach. This is Michael T. Gilbert, right? Oh no, Sam Granger. I apologize. This is something I pulled from a copy of. From copy of the Alter Egos. So anyhow, once again, not for sale, but wanted to show this off. This is a very early paperback novel being turned into a very short, not the whole paperback novel. It's basically like just a couple pages to get us going. So I would love to be able to hopefully get the funding to be able to bring these. These are Golden Age comics, which are in the public domain, that I will probably even do my own ink variation of them. So it's all exciting. I'm just at the start. That's probably the biggest thing that I'm sharing with people when it comes to this. Can I sell without the Kickstarter? It's just really me being ahead of the game and thinking, because one of my worries is that because of AI, Instagram, Facebook, there's going to be a lot of change. And if we're depending on Kickstarters and Instagram, these other platforms to continually sell our work for us, it's misleading. And it's really going to harm artists down the road. So with CromTheBarbarian.com, which is a website I own, and I on a weekly basis maintain with blog entries and video interviews that I'm having with sword and sorcery, comic book, fantasy artists. It's going to be around. And I think there's going to be some exciting things that are going to happen with search engines and the way they populate in there. And that'll be something I will also be talking about down the way. But I just want to thank everybody who has supported me, continually supports me. This is going to sound weird, but it's nothing new with me. One of the most exciting things about the 42 issues is pretty much all of them, actually, I believe all of them, are not friends and family yet. And what I mean by it, we often do things and then, loved ones want to support us. But I'm happy to say that I'm getting 42 savage sword and sorcery fans supporting CROM Collected. So once again, can't thank you enough. If you can help by the end of the day to get us closer to 50, because then we'll have 15 more days to get to another 50 to get to 100. But I'm going to say this one last time on the way out. CROM Collected 2024 revised edition, black and white, magazine size, which means 8.5 by 11, 140 pages, really great. Pro story illustrated by me, the originals. This is also, and this is very important to other sword and sorcery fans. This is the player's hand guide if you want to play with me in my sandbox. But it doesn't mean that I wouldn't want to get you and your CROM and your sword and sorcery material in the CROM anthology. Loosely right now, the CROM anthology will be, let's say, half CROM by Kurt Bruegel Gardner Fox and the other half by backup material that is there for promotional basis to help get the word out about other artists and their stories and work, and keeping this character Crom the Barbarian, who is in the public domain, alive, as well as the creator Gardner Francis Fox, John Junta, and Jack Katz. But with that being said, I believe I am over 45 minutes. Oh yeah, coming up on 45. I like to keep these things around 40 bite-sized minutes. But thank you. Thank you so very much for stopping by and checking me out here. But I am going to say thank you and good day, and I will return with another live feed and update. And as well, follow me on my Instagram, Kurt Bruegel Instagram, which is where you're at right there. I'm sure there's some sort of subscribe button to keep up to date and to help me sell 100 copies without Kickstarter. Thanks again, everyone. Had a great time, and I look forward to coming back again.